what do you guys think of, and I'm interested to get your take on this, Patricia, because of what's happened to your family.
Okay.
You know this guy, Brian Kohberger.
Yes.
Kohberger. He's the murderer in Idaho. It's going to be official. The state of Idaho has cut a plea deal with this guy. He murdered, it says he's accused, but he's pleading guilty of murdering 4 people in a home invasion. He's going to plead guilty if they take the death penalty off the table. Family members are outraged that this happened. What do you think?
I'd be outraged too.
Yeah.
Especially because all of this happened seemingly overnight, and many of them are trying to rush to get to where the trial is. You know,
Right.
They want to be there in support of their family members, and it's just thrown them all for a loop.
And their family members have spoken out and said the FBI was amazing, local policing, the investigations were amazing. This falls squarely on the shoulders of the prosecutors.
Yeah.
Is it? I didn't reach out because I didn't want to put anybody in an awkward spot. But I didn't reach out to the prosecutors that I know. But I wonder, is it a manpower issue? You know what I mean? Is it a labor force issue? Is it that you just know that it is such an important thing that you've got to make sure that you are, you want to make sure that you're getting the conviction, that by some miracle, if he isn't convicted, then what? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is that the concern? Like, again, we're not going to talk too much about Diddy, but it looks like he was found not guilty on a lot of the most serious charges. So are they concerned that if they don't take a plea deal, that all it takes is one juror to not agree and this guy could end up getting off?
To get off, yeah.
I don't know.
That's hard to call.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Awful situation.
All right, 2 other things. One is the family of 11 people that were taken off the mountain, the South Mountain, the hiking. Remember that last week? No citation, no charges.
I'm still so angry about this.
I
I've had
know.
people that came to me on social media that listen, and they're like, I think they should be charged too. You know, if they were by themselves, would they be charged? They were like trespassing.
Well, it's
Even if they didn't have the kids, you know, maybe they're trying to be more lenient because they had kids and children.
I was
but
torn. See, I've always
No.
been torn about parks and stuff because we own them as citizens. They're our parks. So how do you close a park? How do you say I can't go to a park at night? How do you say, you know what I mean?
If anything, I think they should be charged with child endangerment because
Right.
they did say the parks would close because of the temperature.
Right, and that's the part where I waver because when you look at the risk you put first responders in, when they have to risk their lives.
And the money that it costs.
Yes.
A lot of money.
And it also takes those
Them off the
first, yeah, it
streets.
takes them off of other calls.
Right.
You know, they're out of service for that extended length of time while they're rescuing a family that walked by these. Oh, and by the way, did you see the signs that they walked past?
No, don't even tell me. I'm going to be
It's
mad.
you know those folding signs, the really big, wide folding signs, like at the valet that say
Yes.
valet? Them. Huge signs. That
So
you
it's
had
not
to
like they
walk-
didn't see
Yeah,
them,
they
right?
weren't. They weren't those.
They weren't
little,
covered by brush or anything
Yeah,
that day.
They weren't those little tiny signs in an intersection that say "No right turn on red." You know, and you don't
It's like
see
one of those
them.
ones that say wet surface,
Yes,
water, watch
but
out.
but much bigger. Like 4.
Oh, it's even worse.
Yeah,
it's
5.
much bigger.
So yeah, you know the ones that say wet floor or whatever.
Yes. Caution.
Yeah, these are 4 times that size. They're bigger and wider than that.
Maybe if the sign said, "Hey, you idiot, turn around." We don't just suggest it.
So, and the other one is an update that I found fascinating. I don't use the platform Reddit very much. I know what it is, but I'm not
Right.
on Reddit very much. But there's a lot of discussion boards on Reddit. Well, apparently, the original stories that were written about that father that jumped in the water to save his 4-year-old daughter.
Yes.
So originally, he's a hero. This guy jumped off the side of the ship, grabbed his daughter, treaded water for 20
not what
minutes.
happened.
So and we kept asking, how did a kid fall overboard? I got a nice email from someone that's explained. She works for a cruise company. I think her name was Carolyn. She said, I work for a cruise company. You can't just fall off a ship. Well, it turns out the father was holding the daughter up for a picture.
On a 4-foot-high
On a
guardrail.
Yes.
And she felt, no wonder why he jumped in, because he felt guilty.
He set his daughter on a railing. Again, wasn't it you, Pablo, that said something about this when we talked about it yesterday? What if this was a balcony?
Yeah,
One of you-
somebody actually messaged the Broomhead show on Facebook and said that it was on the 4th story or whatever. It was like
Yeah.
an observation deck.
Yeah.
And they have this big 4-foot wall on purpose so people don't fall over.
Right.
And
still long
he put her over it.
Wow.
Set her on top of
Apparently.
it to take a picture.
Oh, what a nice picture.
People
I'm all
are-
about taking pictures, by the way, but still, don't put your child's life in danger.
Yeah, listen, your son climbs on everything, but all right. So I want you to think. Because you do take pictures of your son in the house, like if he's climbing on
Yes.
the table or something.
Catch him in
Now,
red-handed.
so just do the full thing. You're on vacation. You're on a cruise. You're on a Disney cruise, and your son's got the mouse ears on, and you see him climbing on the 4th story of a guardrail. Do you take a picture or do you
No,
take him off the
you
rail?
take him off first.
But this kid wasn't even climbing on the rail.
No,
The dad put her there.
he hoisted her up. It was like Simba. It's like Lion King.
Have you guys ever driven to Vegas?
Yes.
All right.
Just recently in April.
Do you remember the days? Well, you don't have to do it anymore, Patricia, but back in the old days, before they built the Pat Tillman Bridge,
You had to go over the dam?
you had to drive over the dam.
Damn.
So
What? The dam? I like Hoover Dam. It's amazing.
You know
by
what
the
you could
way.
do there too?
You can do some dam fishing
Or take a dam tour.
yes,
if you got
can.
some dam bait.
Yes. So you used to have to drive through the switchbacks, drive over the dam, and then switchbacks.
And it
all
was
the
like
way up.
one lane only
Yeah,
too. Going.
it was a
yeah.
nightmare.
I've only driven through like one time.
But even now, when they built that bridge, the Pat Tillman Bridge, they even built those walls, you know, the
Oh yeah, yeah. I know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
even much higher on the sides of the road. Part
Yeah.
of it, I think, because they don't want people gawking over the
Right.
edge, and they don't want cars going
And
over the edge
driving,
if there's
yeah.
a crash on the bridge. So they do things to prevent stupid people from killing themselves. But this guy puts his 4-year-old on a guardrail. I mean, on a railing of a 4-foot rail to take a picture,
She's
and the
gonna
kid falls.
Remember that for the rest of her life.
There are stories, and it's unfortunate that it's happened, but there have been adults that have done this. When you go to the Grand Canyon, there isn't much that stops you from falling in the canyon. And so they have benches near observation. There are people that get on those things and take pictures. And I thought, are you out of your mind? And that's an adult that decides they're going to risk their own life.
I've seen some
Yeah,
people
that's
go like under
crazy.
the rail and try to go onto the
Yeah.
beyond
Scary.
the, you know.
That's like those people that go into the zoo enclosement.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a picture real quick.
The worst, most horrific thing for me, because I hate heights. First of all, I'd never go on that observation deck. You know, the glass one. I'd never go on that ever in my life.
What is your height limit? Like right now on the 2nd floor, will you look
Yes,
out?
I'll look out. You know, it's funny you say that, because this makes me sound like such a wimp. I can look out. I have no problem looking out. But if I go stand by the window and I look straight down, I get queasy. And we're on the
Really?
2nd floor. Yeah, I get queasy.
It's bad. Okay.
I used to work on.
Nothing to make fun of. It's
So
valid.
there's a big PetSmart has a huge distribution center at 75th Avenue and I-10, and I used to be the electrician that maintained that property. I used to work inside and outside. Well, they have huge parking lot lights, and so where the parking lot lights come out of the ground, it's like 4 feet off the ground for the base because of the trucks don't hit them, and then the lights are like 20 feet in the air. I would go up in a lift, and I would be so afraid that I would have to raise the lift so high that my head was actually inside the light fixture, or I was too paralyzed to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I
how did you
don't-
do most of
It
your
was
job?
terrible. It was terrible. It was awful.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.